Hello and welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and we have an upcoming event, Colorado Succeeds has an upcoming event called the Succeeds Prize, and it is a very exciting event. So I have in studio with me to talk about it, Danny McCormick, who is the project manager for Colorado Succeeds. How are you, Danny?
Great. Thanks for having us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, my pleasure. So first of all, you're in my hot seat, so what I have to have everyone do before we get started is tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you ended up at Colorado Succeeds.
Yeah, sure thing. So I've been with Colorado Succeeds for a little over a year now. Before that was teaching middle school down in Phoenix, Arizona, and then spent about 6 years working as a consultant primarily on projects with Denver Public Schools. Went to school for marketing and advertising, kind of thought I would go down that business path, but was drawn towards education, and at Colorado Succeeds I've really found this great place where I'm straddling both of those worlds, so it's been a really great experience.
Which is super nice, yeah. Working for a nonprofit in the education sector, I'm sure it has its own issues, but nothing like teaching middle schoolers, right?
Yeah, no one has to ask me to go to the restroom, so that's, a different part of my day. But, Colorado Succeeds is a really great organization that does a lot in the advocacy space and bringing people together and, especially our business community and our business leaders to really align around education and make sure that all kids in Colorado are receiving the quality education they deserve.
Absolutely. And they do a fantastic job. I agree. We partnered with Colorado Succeed several times over the years, particularly on education issues. And it's so awesome to make sure that they've got the right people out there advocating, including people that do have those education backgrounds, which is really exciting to know, right? You don't just need marketing or business to get involved.
That's right.
Yes. So tell me a little bit more about Colorado Succeeds and who they are. As we both have mentioned, they're huge advocacy players in the education realm, but what else?
Yeah, so we are a nonprofit, nonpartisan coalition of business leaders that, at a high level are aligned around improving education outcomes for all students. Our business leaders, bring really relevant expertise to the space from not only the work they do as a business leader in our community, but also as parents. And, they have a lot invested in our education system as far as, not only just making sure morally that our kids are getting the education that they deserve, but also, economically. We have a huge skills gap in Colorado where we're not always growing the talent that we need here in the state. And so making sure that our education system is producing students who are, ready to take on the vast amount of career opportunities that our state has and that our businesses need, high quality workers for. And so it's really exciting to do a lot of work with our businesses to help them understand where some of those opportunities are, to partner with schools and to be more hands-on, but to also leverage their leadership and capacity at the state level and at the policy level and really just at the advocacy level, again, ensuring that kids receive the education that they need and deserve.
Fantastic. So you've been there just over a year, you said.
That's right. Yep.
So that you've seen a full cycle of how everything works. What's been your favorite takeaway so far?
Yeah, I mean, the really exciting thing for me has just been learning more and more about all of the really great things happening in the state of Colorado. When I first started, one of my initial tasks was actually going out and meeting with our winners from previous years for the Succeeds Prize and learning a little bit more about where they're at, what they've used the award money for, how that's going, and through the Colorado Roadmap to Work-Based Learning, which we were here talking about previously. Again, a lot of my job has been getting out there and meeting with the educators who are really moving the needle and doing the work. And, the Succeeds Prize itself is really about inspiring others. And I think, selfishly, personally, I've been able to experience a lot of those moments of inspiration and, meeting an educator and meeting students who are really doing awesome, great things that we would like to see more and more of happening in the state of Colorado. And so, just being in that learning mindset and mode has been a real privilege in my role at our organization.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the Succeeds Prize, so let's jump ship and start talking about that. So were you here for last year's then?
I was, just in enough time to attend and really experience it and be a part of it. It's crazy to think that this is going to just be the third annual event. It really is a huge deal. We kind of talk about it as the Academy Awards for educators in Colorado. full red carpet experience. It's really about not only recognizing these specific educators and the work that they're doing and awarding them for that and putting a spotlight on that, but also just celebrating our educators in general and, really treating them to a really nice evening where it really is all about them and the work that they're doing. And, again, inspiration is a big part of this. We're really putting a spotlight on these educators and these schools and these programs who are doing really, really cool things that we'd love to see more of in the state of Colorado. Our partnership with MindSpark Learning, support some of these schools and educators on the back end with some of their professional development and the things that they need to continue to move their work forward. And then obviously a strong partner with 9 News, who's really doing an amazing job helping to tell these stories, put a spotlight on these places and these educators and these schools that are moving the needle, and really giving them an opportunity they don't really get very often to be on television and to share their story and to be recognized in this really fun, formal way that is recognition that they don't always get. A lot of times as an educator, it's a pat on the back and a thank you and maybe a nice call or a note from a parent. Right, the apple, the apple on the desk. So this is just a really great time to, again, not only put a spotlight on these specific schools and programs, but to celebrate our educators in the state of Colorado overall.
Yeah. Do you find that this has motivated more people to get involved with the Succeeds Prize as far as the educators are concerned? Are you seeing more schools moving towards being innovative and wanting to be not sponsored, nominated? Yeah,
it's I would say both our educators and our business community. Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of really great applications for our Excellence Awards process this year, which is kind of the application-driven process, and that bucket of awards, and that was really exciting to see. We had over 51 applications come in for those awards, all of which were really strong. Making our decisions this year was especially challenging, and so we're seeing more and more of these things, and being able to make more connections with educators, through past winners and current finalists and the educators that we've met through the roadmap. But then again, to the exposure that these schools are getting is also opening up new partnerships with businesses and nonprofits who are hearing these stories and saying, oh, that's a place where we should maybe be, they're right in our backyard. Let's go talk to them and see if we can do something with them, because that program sounds really great and super aligned to the work that we do. And so it's been really exciting. A lot of what we're doing in this space is convening and connecting and getting the right people in the right rooms to have the right conversations so that work moves forward and partnerships are created or improved and expanded. And it's that partnership piece too that I think is just really exciting when you see business leaders in the business community, not only advocating for these educators, but starting to become more and more hands-on and, hosting students for internships or lending equipment and expertise to certain projects. And, that level of collaboration, I think, has definitely increased and will continue to increase as this program continues to grow. But again, it's just been a really awesome learning opportunity, not only for me personally, but for our organization, as, we through this process are learning more and more about who's doing what in all of the corners of our state, and having a better feel for, where things are happening and where we need to put a spotlight and how we can then also support that work and continuing to grow and expand.
Yes, absolutely. And you mentioned across the state in
That's
every
right.
corner, right? So the Succeeds Prize is not just about the Denver metro area, the Front Range, right?
That's right. Yeah, we've got finalists from all over. We've got some finalists from here in the metro area, from Denver Public Schools and Aurora Public Schools, but also out in Longfellow and down in the North Conejos district, Manassas Elementary School, Canyon City. We've got Pueblo and a cool partnership happening there, the Roaring Fork School District, St. Vrain, the Poudre School District up in the Fort Collins area, the Thompson School District, Cherry Creek School District, all have representatives amongst our finalists this year. And again, selfishly, it was my job and part of my job to drive to these places and meet with these educators and see these things that are happening. And again, I'm spoiled in that regard and really getting to see these amazing schools and programs and the educators that are leading them.
Yeah. So let's talk about the award categories.
Yeah. So we have 2 buckets of awards. The first is the Transformational Impact Award, where we recognize an elementary, a middle, and a high school. That starts with a blind data review process where we look at a wide set of data, but an emphasis on growth and schools that are closing the achievement gap and serving the students that need them the most in the best ways. From that, we ask them to complete a survey and tell us a little bit more about, how are they achieving these outcomes? What is it that makes their school special? We conduct site visits with our advisory committee and ultimately land on 3 finalists and then, 1 winner that'll be revealed on September 19th at the big event. The other bucket of awards I mentioned a little bit earlier is the Excellence Awards. And again, we had 51 really strong applications this year. There are 3 subcategories within those. One is tech-enabled learning, so educators and schools and programs that are leveraging technology to advance student learning. We also have a broader kind of innovation award, schools and programs and educators who are, just doing something different and new that's advancing education in the state of Colorado and moving the needle for kids in their community. And last, we've got the STEM award, where it's programs that are really focused on, science, technology, engineering, and math, and helping students develop those skills through their efforts and their programs.
Those are actually like super great categories that you have. I really like that. I imagine the process to narrow it down to these was tough.
It was really tough, and when we started, it was really an all call. We actually didn't put the labels on the subcategories at the beginning of the process because we didn't want to have any barriers, have anyone who's looking at the application and thinking to themselves, well, I don't really know if and where I fit here. It was really a broader call for what is it that you're doing that is innovative, that is aligned to our organization's Vision 2030 framework, which kind of outlines the principles, competencies, and experiences that we think should exist within our education system. And then through the process and through our advisory committee, honed in on our finalists and ultimately what categories they would fall into specifically. But it was really challenging. I'd love to award all 51, and they're all doing really great things. And we're continuing to look for ways to tell their stories and to support them in their work. Outside of the Succeeds Prize. And, again, we talked about the roadmap to work-based learning. I think there's a good amount of those that kind of fall into that bucket. And, again, just continuing to do whatever we can through our partnerships and through our own efforts to put a spotlight on these educators, not just among our finalists, but all who applied and really throughout the state and all the good things that are happening. It's really been a fun process to learn more about these programs and these educators, and an incredibly tough process to get down to our finalists here, who really, we think of them all as winners, and they are all walking away with at least $5,000 in recognition of their work that they can use to move that work forward. And so, that's been a big emphasis when we're communicating with our finalists about the big event. Like, there is only going to be 1 winner in each category, but they're definitely all winners and all, very worthy of the spotlight and the recognition. And we're looking forward to continuing to partner with them beyond the 19th and continue to tell their stories, because their stories worth telling.
Absolutely. And I like that you continue working on partnerships for them, right? In the long run, they may not win, right, but one, that doesn't mean they can't be nominated again, correct?
Yeah, it's something that, again, this is the 3rd year, right? So we haven't actually had that as much of an issue, just given we haven't really existed in this capacity for so long. So the process is evolving a little bit each year as we learn more and more, but generally speaking, they cannot win twice per se, but that's not to say that a school or an educator couldn't submit something different if maybe they won in years past. And obviously that's a factor when considering everything. But given this is only our 3rd year, that having repeat applicants has not necessarily been a big issue at this point in time. But yeah, it's something that, again, we're excited with the number and quality of applications we received for the Excellence Awards, the number of educators and schools that we were able to visit through the transformational impact process, and the relationships that we're building. And, again, always looking for ways to continue to support that work for both our finalists and beyond across the state of Colorado in that connecting and convening space.
Yes, absolutely. But to reiterate, the nice thing about this is that there's no reason not to nominate yourself, because you're going to be able to continue to focus on these partnerships, and Colorado Succeeds will still be there to help you get those partnerships in place so that you can further project what you're doing as an educator. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, we get inquiries all the time too, just through our website, and I love those Zoom and coffee conversations that I get to have where it's someone who maybe just saw our Vision 2030 framework or saw a little bit about the Succeeds Prize and wants to learn more. And, it's been my role to reach out to that person and find out what they're doing. And I spend a lot of my time connecting them to other people and, remembering a coffee I had with someone else. And I've got this master spreadsheet that's kind of everyone I've ever talked to about anything. And so I really love, our role as connectors in this space, and leveraging that business community as well, and their desires to be more involved and making those connections and seeing those partnerships form. And I've been on calls between educators and a business where they'll just talk for 30 minutes, and I just get to kind of sit back and listen and smile and like see the work that we've done to even just put them on the phone together start to lead to some new opportunities and partnerships, and ultimately experiences that students are going to get to have that are going to further their education, and in a lot of ways help them better understand like what they want to do and be when they grow up. And that's really exciting.
It is really exciting. It's actually, I share that with you because one of the things that I get to do in here is I talk to multiple businesses. I talk to multiple people that are on the education spectrum. And so connecting those people is super rewarding. So I feel you on that for sure. Yeah. It's, there's it's a different feeling, a great one.
That's right.
But I do want to talk a little bit about the agenda for the actual event. And again, that is September 9th.
19th, yeah.
19th.
Thursday, September 19th.
I made it 10 days
Thursday,
early.
September 19th. I'll say it one more time. Thursday, September 19th. So it is at the Ellie Calkins Opera House. It's a totally free event. Registration is open at thesucceedsprize.org. It's a night to celebrate educators. Red carpet. We'll have, if you can picture the DCPA, we'll have a lot of kind of activation opportunities with some robotics and some drones, and some of our finalists and other educators who are there kind of just sharing a little bit more about their work. I think we're going to have some student interviewers and a film crew kind of on the red carpet, cocktail hour, live music inside. That's all from 6:30 to 8. So about an hour and a half of just hanging out and being with one another and celebrating each other's work. And then the program is from 8 to 9, and that'll actually be broadcast live on 9 News. And so we're really excited about that. Again, it's just been a tremendous partnership, and the amount of storytelling and the spotlight that they're putting on these educators is really just a unique opportunity for our schools and programs and teachers, and something that we're thrilled about. And this thing's grown and grown year over year, and we're really excited to be at the Ellie Calkins Opera House and trying to fill that thing up. So if you haven't already registered, register and be there, because it really is a fun, inspiring evening that just is all about celebrating educators in our state.
Yes, absolutely. It sounds like a fascinating event. I'm excited. I did sign up to go, so I'm excited for it myself. What are some goals for this year? As you mentioned, this is only the third year. You're not quite in the learning phase anymore, but it's always good to get feedback from previous years and moving forward. You hope the event just gets better and better and easier, right? So what are some goals for this year's event? Yeah,
and I'd actually say we're kind of always in learning phase. I think we're constantly learning and evolving and tweaking and making sure that the work that we're doing is adding value to the space. And it really is, while it is a fun night and we're here to talk about that night, it is more than one night. As I mentioned, the follow-up with educators and the storytelling that happens beyond this is really exciting. We're really looking at the game changers in education in Colorado, and to learn more about what's working to better prepare students for their future, and also just bringing together different stakeholders that'll be important in pushing this work forward, and having that business community and that education community and legislators in the room, and having this cocktail hour for them to mingle and meet and get to know one another, and those circles don't always overlap super frequently, and so it's a really fun night, but again, it goes beyond that night, and we're really excited to continue working not only with this year's finalists and winners, but last year's and the year before, next year's, and really all of the educators that we've met through our work. It's just been a really great opportunity and a vehicle for us to put a spotlight on these programs and teachers that are really doing great things for kids, and we couldn't be more excited. Again, it's September 19th. Reception starts at 6:30 at the Ellie Calkins Opera House, and registration is live on thesucceedsprize.org. Totally free event, really fun night for not just educators, not just business leaders, but really anyone who wants to learn more about what's happening in our state when it comes to education, and also to be there to celebrate the fantastic educators that we have here in the state of Colorado.
Awesome. I got to ask a question for such a prestigious event. Obviously, you've got a lot of sponsors here that are helping with this. What prompted you guys to make it a free event?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things. It's not about raising money, right? It's not a fundraiser. It really is a celebration, and I think that's huge. Do want to give our sponsors some love too, because this doesn't happen without them. As I mentioned, we're giving away $150,000 to these schools and to these educators, and we couldn't do this without them. So for the transformational impact in an elementary school, that's T-Tech is the sponsor. For the middle school award, DeVita is sponsoring that this year. And for the high school awards, Slalom would be sponsoring that, and we're really grateful for them. And then for the Excellence Awards, Ball is the STEM education sponsor. Janice Henderson is sponsoring the Educator Innovation Award. And then the Tech-Enabled Learning is sponsored by Arrow. And again, we're super grateful for them. It's because of them that this can be a free event, and this can really just be about celebrating educators, celebrating the great things happening in Colorado, telling their stories, and awarding these schools with a little bit of money to go forth and continue the great work that they're doing. It's not a grant by any means. There's nothing specific that they're beholden to, but in meeting with our past winners, the money is nice and it's really adding a lot of value to what they do. But the spotlight and the storytelling as well is equally as valuable to them when they're pursuing additional partnerships and people are now coming to them to learn more about what they're doing. It really is just a big deal for these teachers and these schools and these programs. And, we're thrilled to work with our sponsors and with our partners to provide this opportunity.
Yeah, this is, again, it's a wonderful opportunity. It's a great event that you guys have. I like that you've aligned your awards with the right sponsors, so to speak.
Right.
That was thoughtful of you. If there are businesses that would like to be the DeVitas and sponsor an award or anything like that, is it still available for this event? And for 2020, how can other businesses get involved and be sponsors? Yeah,
we're always looking to expand our base and our partnerships, not just for the Succeeds Prize, but for our work overall. And, a lot of our businesses are members of our organization for different reasons, and we address all of those reasons in our work and support these businesses in both advocating for education, but also being more hands-on and partnering. And so, coloradosucceeds.org is the website. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to learn more about what you're doing when it comes to partnering with schools and districts, what you'd like to do, what barriers you've experienced when trying to do that. We've been learning a lot over the last few years about what that takes and what that looks like, and through the Succeeds Prize and other avenues, telling those stories and putting a spotlight on those things and connecting people to those individuals and resources and ideas to both inspire, but also to then take that inspiration and turn that into action and really see some tangible partnerships and some tangible work coming out of this. And so coloradosucceeds.org is our website. TheSucceedsPrize.org is where you can learn more about the Succeeds Prize itself. You can also follow us on Twitter at COSucceeds. And look out for hashtag the Succeeds Prize, hashtag TSP 2019 on social media. But we're always looking to hear from our business community and our nonprofit partners and our state partners and our schools and districts. So anyone interested in learning more about our work and the Succeeds Prize specifically, please reach out, and it's more than likely I'll be the guy to grab a coffee with you or send you a Zoom link so that we can talk face to face. And again, we're always learning. We're always looking to advance the work both broadly and also specifically. And so always looking to learn more about what that looks like and what that looks like community to community across the state. Again, we are a statewide organization, and so every community has their own unique challenges, their own unique opportunities, barriers that they're running into, industries and businesses that are present in that community. And so it's been really, really fun to learn about those things, but also to see things happening and moving that work forward, again, through the Succeeds Prize, but our other work as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Chock full of wonderful information. I did imagine that you were probably the person that would be the connector there. Gosh, I wish I had more time with you, Danny, but I don't. One more time here, you're going to need to visit thesucceedsprize.org. You can sign up. Again, it is free registration. The event starts September 19th at 6:30 is the reception at Ellie Calkins Opera House. And it's going to be a live broadcast through 9 News from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you can't make it out there, you can at least watch it. So thank you so much, Danny. It's
Thank
been
you
a
so much for
pleasure.
having us. Always a pleasure.
Yes.